Hey, good morning, Jeremy.
Good morning, Ryan.
How are you doing today?
So far so good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Got the first rainy day in a while. Getting some work done now inside. And
And
this
we
is one of them. You've been on my
good
to-do
deal.
list for a minute.
Man, I've been watching you for a long time and I've been meaning to get with you. So when obviously health was nothing new to me. And I've been through a lot of hurdles over the past few years, but whenever I watch your videos, you're able to kind of break health down in a much more simple way for people that wouldn't understand complex things to kind of understand. So it's good.
Well, I'm glad that we've achieved that aim. And I want to make a note here before we continue, because part of the reason I'm recording these calls is to help other people when they're dealing with people. Now, just to note that this is the first time that we've spoken, although we've corresponded on the inboxes, but it
Correct.
probably took you quite a while to reach out at that point. This is the
It did.
second recorded consultation call, I'm calling it. And
Okay.
the first one, he happened to catch me. This was his first message to us, and he just asked for a call, and I'm like, well, I'm not busy right now. Boom. But he had taken a long time. He said he'd been following basically since the start. It taken him that long to actually reach out. So it's just a note for people that the process is quite long. What we are doing is giving out little bits of information, helping people with little things at a time, making things make sense. Like you said, it takes a lot of work to make some things make sense. But once that clicks, now you've got the interest, now you've got the attention, now you can actually talk to people about it. But it can be quite a long process. And there's a lot of people that rush out there. They just find out this information and they want to go tell everybody. And that's great. But part of this realistic approach that I'm trying to promote is that if you tell your mom or your brother or your boyfriend today about this, it's very unlikely that you're going to pique their interest right away. It's likely
Correct.
that the months, maybe more, maybe years or more of a process before they're even interested or willing, or something changes in their life where they're willing to make a change. And then even then, when they make that decision, by the way, a purchase usually is 20 days, 30 days, 60 days or more after they've already made the decision to do it. Just a quick example before we move on. I know this is about health, but I remember the other day I saw a book that somebody I respect put out. And I said, that's awesome. And I went and I looked at the price of the book and I said, ooh, it's a pretty expensive book,
Yeah.
you know. But I made the decision in my head that I was going to buy the book, right? It's not that I'm never going to buy it. I just said, I don't really want to buy it right now. Boom, but it's on my list. So this whole thing takes a while. Once we're here, we're here. I feel like I have to give a disclaimer out for this. What we're doing here is not treating or curing a disease legally, right? We're not attempting to treat or cure any symptoms or anything like that. We're actually trying to rewire the understanding of disease, like you mentioned there, Jeremy. We're culturally adapted to talking about causes and cures, and then we're also given laws that say we can't actually use that language.
Correct.
So
The deadly C word. You don't want to use the C word.
yeah, so we're gonna just first, before we give any advice, we give out the information blanketly. It's publicly available information, but to actually give somebody advice, we can't proceed unless we ask them questions. We have to know what's going on. There's no one blanket recommendation for everybody, and there's some things on this list that can dramatically change the outcome. Now, Jeremy, you've received these questions on the inbox already.
I have.
You mind if we just go through them, rip through them quickly? Just
Yeah, of course. I don't mind at all.
cool. So the basics, always age, weight, and height.
Okay, so I'm 29. I'll be 30 in August. Um, I am 130 pounds, 5'7".
Well, that's good. And I know you're a male because I'm talking to you. Some people, I have to put gender in there because
Not quite sure.
it's either profile picture or something. I don't know who they are.
Gotcha.
So it's good news that you're young. It's good news that you're male. It's good news because males have less health problems than females, even though females live longer statistically
Yeah,
because males play with guns and dirt bikes. But
done all
females,
that.
they have more diseases and they have more pressures more on their nutritional system, especially with menstruation and childbirth. So
Right.
it's better news if you're a male. You just don't have those extra pressures just a little bit. And this is only in this one particular realm. But anyways, moving on. You're not heavy. You're not that tall, but you're not heavy. That's good. Supplements are based on body weight, and if you come into us at 300 pounds, you can expect a bit of a different mindset going into it than somebody who's 130 pounds.
Absolutely.
You're in America?
I am. I'm in San Antonio, Texas.
Texas. I believe Texas has no tax on supplements. That's excellent. Any diagnosis or symptoms officially
Yes.
or unofficially?
So in 2018, I was really, really running myself ragged. I was like over an oil field company. I was working 7 days a week, like 14 to 16 hours a day, driving an hour each way. I was drinking like a lot of coffee, wasn't sleeping much, always stressed. And apparently the place I was living in had mold in it. And I ended up developing a fungal brain infection from living in there. And it not only did it take me from, at the time, I was 165 pounds. I was working out a lot back then, necessarily fat. But I went from 165 pounds to 103 pounds in a matter of months. My brain was
Wow.
swelling. It was on fire all the time. It got to where it was like I was on, like I was being shot up with neurotoxins. It was like I wasn't even, life didn't feel real. I never knew where I was. I couldn't work. And anyways, long story short, it partially blinded me in both my eyes, my right one especially, but it caused optic nerve damage in my eyes. And
You're still experiencing that?
yes, the eyesight never came back. I
Okay.
have, so now I can't work. That's the problem. I can't drive. So I've really lost like my quality of life. And so that's one thing that obviously, if I felt like I had my life tore away from me being such a young age. And so that's kind of been, especially when, your doctor tells you, oh, look, yeah, look, once the nerve is dead, it's dead. And then the only thing they try to tell you is, hey, look, we can do stem cells, but it's no guarantee and this, and it's
Mhm.
just it's terrible.
So that's the primary problem right now, the blindness.
Yes, correct.
How's your brain? Are you still experiencing any?
I will have some days where, and they told me it could last up to a couple years. Like I'll have some days where I can't really like, I guess say think straight, or like I'll kind of be in a fog, and then other days I'm just on point. Couldn't be better. So
Hmm. Do you notice any correlation with your eating or sleeping patterns with that?
well, my sleeping is erratic. I generally don't do anything too different. I haven't had any processed foods in probably 4 years.
That's
I don't eat any gluten or any. I really don't eat any bread. Let's see. I haven't had any sugar other than like berries in 2.5 years. And that was because too, like the fungal infection.
for sure.
The doctor at the time said, "Hey, look, avoid even fruit." He said, "If you feel like you need something, just have some berries." And I got in the habit of not eating, any sugar at all, which I felt like I didn't need it. I felt fine without it. Uh,
Do you feel like the fungus got under control with that?
yeah, it was definitely a much like an important part of the puzzle. When I cut that out, I didn't realize how much I was feeding it because I was still eating fruit, and just me being me at the time, I'm thinking, oh yeah, fruit's healthy. Fruit's fine. I can eat fruit, not knowing that it took them a while to figure out that the infection was fungal
Hmm.
because on an MRI, they couldn't see it.
Yeah, of course.
And it took an infectious disease specialist that specialized in mold and Lyme to just put the pieces together and figure it out.
Have you done any hair analysis?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So you answered one question about sleep. I'm just going to jump to that. Do you have any other sleep problems? Teeth grinding, night sweats, trouble going to sleep, trouble waking up in the middle of the night, going to the bathroom?
Usually it's just falling asleep. So it usually
Okay.
takes me like an hour to fall asleep. So if I need to be asleep by a certain time, I know I need to lay down a little early.
Okay. Do you have any surgeries, any organs removed, any glands removed?
I've had my tonsils and adenoids removed when I was like 3 years old, 2 or 3. And other than that, just I had my wisdom teeth removed when I was 17.
No complications with that.
No, sir.
Okay. On any pharmaceutical drugs or any hardcore street drugs?
No, sir.
Any supplements or herbs?
Yes, I do take, you familiar with Dr. Sebi?
Yep.
Yeah, so I take, the CMOS bladder combo, the bromide powder.
Mm-hmm.
I take a crap load of that. I actually enjoy the way it tastes. A lot of people don't. I like blend that in the morning and night. I take a couple of CMOS capsules throughout the day, and I take. He's got like a BioFerro tonic and the Banju tonic. I can go look and see what's in them. I know it's like burdock root, blue vervain. Give me 1 second.
So the distinction here is that when I ask this, it's for a few reasons. Just remember, this calls for training purposes.
Yes, sir.
I want to see a few things. So you are getting some source of minerals at least. This tells me some things, though. You've already done homework. You already told me you already done homework. You've already battled something. You already eliminated sugar. You already gained progress on your fungus. This is really good. It's
Yes,
the difference between you and someone just coming out off the street and be like, hey, I got diagnosed with diabetes yesterday. What do I do? You know?
Yes, sir.
So you're already here. The rest of what you're taking is very similar. We often get a list like this that when someone is taking supplements, it's either nothing or they're taking a group of them.
Right.
And usually most of that group is herbal.
Yes,
and herbal, every herb is going to have a medicinal action, and this is okay, especially for somebody like you actually that was dealing with a fungus thing. It's not a bad idea to throw a bunch of herbs in a bunch of different forms.
Yes, sir.
You know, we would recommend that some would be better cost efficiency than others, but if budget isn't involved, it would be a bombardment of herbs that I would be giving the body if I was dealing with any fungus or candida or any infestation of any kind, any parasite of any kind. That's when you go in with the herbs. That's when the medicine is good. But if you've been on it for long term, we would notice that a lot of people do come to us and they say, yeah, I've been taking these things for a long time. And this specifically, the sea moss and the bladderwrack, you know, burdock is very common as well.
Yes.
But a whole bunch of these chaga, you know, very common ones, they're still coming to us with a problem, right? So this is kind of, we just go above and beyond and we just fill in the gaps. And when it comes to sea moss, the products of sea moss, it's just not enough concentration. People ask all the time, is sea moss enough? And we say, yes, if you use it all day, every day for your cooking and heating. So you're burning it for cooking and heating. And then you use those wood ashes. You put those wood ashes in your garden. You put the white, fine wood ashes in your salt. You cut your food with it. And you thicken your food with it. And that's how you'll get enough minerals from sea moss. It's very, very tough to get it in product form that way. And it's not cost effective when you start looking at dollar for dollar. And we are salespeople at the end of the day. We do have to know the cost per day analysis of each of the recommendations that we're making. Because if we're telling you to support your digestion, specifically with some products on top of your supplement regime, we're expecting that to cost you whatever it is,
Gotcha.
$1.30, $3.80 more per day. And if people did that math with the regular products that they're taking, it starts to get crazy. And this is why we don't recommend doing the 90 essential nutrients individually, because you would have 40 or 50 different products. And it would be completely...
cost you a fortune.
Yeah, it's not doable. I think back in the old day when Dr. Wallach had a weight loss clinic, that's part of what he would do. You'd be heading out the door with 40 different bottles of capsules, you know, trying to add it all up like we would with animal foods, but we didn't find the efficient way to do that. So you're not on any drugs, that's good. By the way, another note on supplements is that if somebody is already taking supplements, we're competing now with an existing bill that they already have. So there's pros and cons to everything, to everybody's situation. It's good that somebody comes in already informed. It sucks that we're telling that person we're basically going to supersede what you're already taking.
Yeah, well,
so we don't want to dismiss it either.
I like to hear that though. You know, I mean, obviously, if you're taking something that's you can feel is helping you, and somebody's got something better, you want to be on it.
Well, on the extreme end, we've had people come to us. Like, remember, our specialty is people who are at the end of the line who've tried everything else. You know,
Sure.
So we've had people come in and dump grocery bags on the table, and be like, "This is what I'm already taking per month." And they've got stuff recommended by their naturopath and their acupuncturist and their chiropractor. They're taking the drugs from their doctor, and they've literally got grocery bags full of stuff. So at that point, it's very easy for us to say, "We're gonna give you more than that in like 4 products." You know,
That's awesome.
Anyway, so we can move on. You've already told me that you do avoid the gluten and the sugar, and I assume that you're kind of been rolling with the other things that we've been talking about, the other inflammatory foods, the oils, deep fried food, processed meat, well done red meat.
No, I haven't had any fried foods in probably 10 years. I haven't had I eat like a mostly, I guess you would say vegan diet, but I eat eggs, every day. I eat butter every day. I don't cook with the butter. I put the butter like on
Hmm.
my food. Also, like my eggs, I don't cook them very long. They're completely still sloppy. I pretty much just crack them, put them on low heat for about 60 seconds, and then eat them. I didn't know how y'all necessarily recommend eating eggs, but I feel like cooking anything too long and like oxidizing it kind of goes against what I'm,
Totally.
So okay,
Totally.
good.
It,
I'm
it,
glad
it
y'all.
degrades a bit of the value for sure. We have made a food page, by the way. It's at Notus Foods. Notus is spelled not us,
Okay,
not
yeah,
us
yeah.
foods.
I've seen that. I've seen that.
Yep. So we run that, but really, my housemate Andrew, my best friend, he's a chef. He's a qualified, certified chef for 22 years in the industry. He's the one that's basically reproducing all of the standard recipes onto that account, and we're not bombarding with content. We're making what we need to make on it to teach people to cook and navigate the world, with labels and restaurants and whatever. And we're there to answer questions, just like the Wallach Warriors page is there to answer health questions. And if anybody on there can't answer it, it'll come to me. Same deal on the Notice Food account. If we can't answer it, then Andrew the chef will answer it. You'll get a real
Gotcha.
answer.
Perfect.
And I've seen some of the answers he's been given, and they're really good. So if you usually you just need a couple of questions, a couple of tweaks to what you're eating to make it all good. But you just ask something simple. It is best to cook your eggs runny. It's great that you're already eating eggs and butter and you're avoiding gluten and sugar and da-da-da. You're way, way ahead of the game. This is like the best case scenario we could ask for.
Also, don't drink any caffeine. The only caffeine I ever drank was black coffee, but with the brain thing going on, I avoided caffeine altogether.
That was on our list too. That's a good idea too. When you're dealing with brain injuries.
Is it a problem too? This is one question I've been waiting to ask you. So on an average day, I might eat like a dozen eggs. Is that too many eggs?
We don't know what too many eggs is. We know that you can eat at least 25 per day
Oh,
and
great.
have a healthy body, healthy cholesterol, So
Okay, well, good. That doesn't make me feel bad at all.
oh yeah, there's a lot of egg farmers out there feeding the family on it. We haven't discovered an upper limit at all.
Fantastic. I love to hear that.
Okay, so important question. Do you have any sensitivities or allergies?
The only allergy that I know of at all was if I'm like bare skinned in the grass, I'll kind of break out a little bit.
Okay.
But no known food allergy or like supplement allergy or anything along those lines.
Cool. Most of what people actually answer that with is a sensitivity rather than an allergy, because an allergy, it's only a real allergy if it requires an EpiPen,
Gotcha.
It's anaphylactic. So everything else is a sensitivity, whether it's environmental or it's food-based, and most of them we can eliminate completely. All the environmental ones, not we as in we're doing it, the body can eliminate all those sensitivities. But the one we're really looking for is shellfish. If they have a shellfish allergy, that's going to change the product recommendation, and that's okay. So do you have any skin, lung, or digestion problems?
I do not.
Great. Do you know your blood type?
A positive.
Great. We usually don't speak very much on it, but it's worth knowing that if you have A positive blood, in my opinion, you've got the hardiest blood that can tolerate the widest variety of foods. So that you're actually, if there's a best blood type to be health-wise and convenience-wise living in this world with this food supply, A positive is the way to go.
Oh, I like to hear that.
Yeah. So next, were you born C-sectioned?
No, I was a natural birth.
Sweet. Just by the way, it's kind of for my own collection of stats, just curiosity, seeing who, and I'm not compiling it in any statistical way, but seeing who comes in with a lot of very serious problems, especially if they're younger. Were they C-section? Very interesting to me, especially if 1 out of 3 children is C-section and that child has the problem,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. If someone has been C-section, we just tell them basically you missed out on a batch of good bacteria when you went through the birth canal. That can lead to automatic digestive immune problems if that's not changed. Anybody who is born C-sectioned, or if you have a baby that was C-sectioned, you can give the baby probiotics. You can give it extra immune support in the form of antioxidants, maybe even extra minerals. It's super easy to dose babies, but that's the point, that if someone was C-sectioned and we're just trying to give them nutrients, we really have to create that good bacteria colony inside of them to be able to have healthy digestion, immunity, but also fight off things like fungus, right? And if that isn't something that you've done yet, that'll be part of your recommendation, will be to dump probiotics into your body.
Yeah,
And
I was going to tell you, I do take a probiotic as well, and I do take a food-based selenium like 3 times a day.
good, good. Both those things, phenomenal. Selenium is the key mineral for unlocking the body's power of its immune system. Really, the immune system is really dependent on selenium because selenium is dependent on the metabolism of glutathione, which is the antioxidant that we produce in most of our cells. It's kind of the master antioxidant.
That's right.
And selenium also has a role in the body's utilization of other antioxidants. So it's very, if there is one to boost,
That's
boom, that's usually the one. You're not pregnant, obviously. Do you drink any carbonation? Assume you're not because you're a follower.
Yeah, I don't. I typically the only 2 things I ever drink is going to be like a sea moss smoothie or water.
That's sweet. If somebody is coming to us and they're addicted to diet soda, they should
God,
not
it's
expect
terrible.
very many results. They should expect limited results.
Yeah.
So, diatomaceous earth. How are you on it yet?
I took it probably 2 years ago. I haven't taken it since then.
What did you notice at that time?
Well, I passed some nasty discolored stuff for about 2 days, and then everything cleared up after that.
What do you mean everything? Like the movements themselves or your body?
Yeah. I mean, I never felt like a change in my overall well-being, but I will say that I definitely passed some like yellowish, sometimes reddish, purplish looking stool that for like the first few days, something that looked like it should not have been inside of me, which was probably years of glutinous junk
Mhm.
food, and after that, everything was my bowel movements was normal after that.
Do you have anything, any of it left?
Well, I've moved homes 2 or 3 times since then,
Okay.
so I'd probably just have to buy some more.
Yeah, it'd be worth just grabbing some of that. I mean, it's not an emergency situation for you. It's like the cheapest thing that is on our list. And if somebody does one thing, it's like buy that today
That'd be a
and
good
just
start.
add that back in.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and have it in the house again, just in case of anything. So your main problem, you're not suffering with delusions anymore. Your weight is up, probably to a normal level. I'm saying
Yeah, this is my
130 is
normal
probably
weight if
healthy
I'm
for you.
not working out. This is like
Yeah.
my average weight.
But you can't work because of the blindness. You're not experiencing any other pain or nervous system problems. Do you have any dents in your fingernails or any other indication that there's still a fungus problem?
No, that was one of the first things that there's a clinic here that after I went through, IV treatments and stuff, there's a clinic here in San Antonio that does ozone. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yep.
So like I was getting a bunch of ozone afterwards trying to like reclaim my health. And it actually had improved my eyesight a little bit. Obviously not enough to
Cool.
where I could drive, but it was a little bit better quality of life being at home. Um, but yeah, that was one of the things they checked when I went there, and they checked like my mitochondrial function and a whole bunch of other stuff. They did like I believe it's like bioenergy, like a bioenergy screening or something like that.
Okay. So the only other thing worth commenting on here is notice I separated. Do you have any surgeries or any organs removed or any glands removed? Often asked. I used to just ask, do you have any organs removed? And then especially when I'm dealing with like a person in a critical condition, like they're in a real serious situation,
Mm-hmm.
and I would have to ask it 2 or 3 times. Like, are you sure you don't have anything removed? Because I'm like suspecting that they have, and they're like, oh yeah, well I had my gallbladder out years ago, right? or tonsils, right, or adenoids, or just something, appendix, something that they think
that's
isn't
all
a
I
big
have
deal.
out, just the tonsils and adenoids.
Well, both of those are partially big deals.
Absolutely.
In the utilization, well, not partially. We need every organ. We need every gland. We're made this way for a reason. These glands, most glands are involved in the immune system in some way. These ones are particularly. So anytime that an organ or gland is removed that is there to support the immune system, what we want to do is just go in and support it overboard to make up, if we can, to make up for that. I mean, I guess we don't fully even understand the full synchronicity of the body, right? There's so many processes going on in the body at any given time. We're not conscious of barely any of them, a tiny speck of them, but we're not in control of of any of them. So anyways, a lot of these are activating things and creating transmitter compounds and stuff like this. Very strange, and usually a multitude of tasks that each one of these little glands does. So obviously people come in with a thyroid problem, and that could mean a huge list of things. We have no idea. It's a wild card. So that just means more probiotics, more antioxidants, more minerals. That's all it really means. The herbs and such can help. I mean, with you, there's a couple of specific things that I would throw in if you were in here long term. I would do a herbal tincture support specifically for the adrenal system.
Okay.
You mentioned that this was partially brought on by overwork, but the fungus thing, I want to mention this. This fungus, this happens. This can knock somebody out. This can just, I once went and stayed in my mother's basement once. She moves all the time. This was one of her basements, and it was like a weekend. Like it was like 2 days in it. I was like, what the heck? My lungs were closing up on me. I said, what's going on here? It's mold, right? And this can happen quick. And this is way on top of your 90 essential nutrients and all this. This is like, I mean, if once you get this infestation, you have to deal with it. It's becoming more and more of a problem, I think, especially with candida and all this. It's hard to tell these things apart sometimes by the way that they show up, but it is very serious to get rid of. You mentioned the gluten and the sugar avoidance. I mean, this is long term too. Usually we're talking about 90 days and such. You can expect results pretty quickly from a lot of the things that we talk about, especially depending on who you are. But it only takes 90 days to regrow a knee. And it can take longer than that to get rid of a fungus or a candida, at least to make sure that it's gone.
Yeah,
So,
it's been like 2 years, and like I said, I still kind of feel it sometimes, So
well, I reckon
it definitely wasn't meant to be up in your brain.
no, a lot of damage can be done from it. That's what I was going to say. I reckon a lot of damage is done by these things. Just for another example, rheumatoid arthritis in our world, in Dr. Wallach's world, it's caused by a bug going in there and causing tissue damage. So
Wow.
It's not like regular arthritis where you're just running out of material. The bug's going in there and causing damage. So there's more repair that's needed. We have to go a little bit heavier, and we have to kill the bug, or it keeps causing the damage. So if you feel that you're over that hurdle, that's good. You would have dented fingernails and all this. And
Yeah, my
I had a fungal
fingernails look
infection
great.
for a few years. Yeah, so that's a very good sign. It looks like we just need to dump in nutrients here. As I've gone through your thing, so your questions, again, you're ahead of the game because you're already on the food stuff. We don't really need to talk about that, although since this is recorded and I'm not expecting everybody to have heard everything before, we're generally recommending, he's already doing it, but we'd recommend that he go completely gluten-free, oil-free, processed meat-free, not to do his meat, red meat, well done or more, so it's medium rare or less, not to burn any animal fat, not to burn any other food, not to char any other food, not to drink carbonated drinks, not to drink too much coffee or alcohol or caffeine, and he's already doing it, so that's good. Next would be the 90 essential nutrients. That's quite simple. You're in a tax-free state. That's freaking awesome. You don't weigh very much. That's awesome. There's one extra support product that I would include with your pack if you do get it. I'll give you two options, and on either of those options, I believe I can afford to include the product that Dr. Wallach, he calls it the Roto-Rooter for veins and for arteries. And that's the Roto-Rooter is something that you would use to clog pipes, right, in a sink, something like that. So this is, obviously you had an oxidative problem. The fungus situation probably just blew all this just completely out of proportion. But you have an oxidative problem if you have an eye problem. It's interesting that you said that the oxygen treatment helped you with that at least a little bit.
So it'd be like a nitric oxide supplement?
Anything that can get more oxygen in the blood. But in this case, the one we're talking about is a herbal product.
Oh.
Yeah, it's there to promote circulation, so it works medicinally rather than mechanically. Something like nitrous oxide or hydrogen peroxide or a hyperbaric chamber.
I have one of those here in my room.
You have a hyperbaric?
I do. A mild. I bought it whenever all this started. Back then, I had a lot of money because I was working, so much.
I was gonna say,
now
it's an expensive machine.
Now I get like a damn tiny little paycheck every month that I try to stretch out.
Do you use that regularly?
I do.
Okay, well, that's good. So great. That's one of the most high-end pieces of equipment that people could have in their own house.
Yeah, so, people freak out when they hear I have one. They're like, "What?"
So our recommendation is extremely simple for you,
okay.
Jeremy. There's just the 90 essential nutrients and that one extra product. And I will, that product, by the way, it's called Ultimate Daily Classic, and its main active ingredient is hawthorn berry extract.
Okay.
And for some reason, that product's not allowed in Canada because of the hawthorn berry extract. So we can't actually ship it here, but I love recommending it when I can because I know that's what Dr. Wallach would do. We even have some products that are like called like Vision FX and what's it called, Occutive, or these are specific products to support eyesight, but we just start with the 90 essential nutrients first. Basically, if you don't see significant improvement just from that, in addition to what you're already doing, and you've already done all this other stuff, then that's when we would fish a little bit. But I would give you that circulation product before that.
Yes,
I would give you Daily Classic before the other ones. And like I said, I'll include that with the purchase, and I'll send you both of those links. To just one option is going to be better than the other one. You're just in such a good position because you're lightweight.
Yes, sir.
You're the prime candidate, by the way, for the liver detox, right? Most of us have had some sort of history of either parasitic infection or deficiencies that cause stones to form in the gallbladder, or maybe even a history of antibiotic use, just et cetera, where the liver cleanse for some people, for a lot of people, enough people that we made it standard procedure that it's the game changer for them. It's the game changer for them. The protocol is we give them enough of the 90 essential nutrients for 30 or more days, then they do the detox. This has been so far our best results protocol. It's the most comprehensive.
So kind of get the nutrition up before you do the detox.
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
That makes sense.
And I think that's what I'm going to recommend.
I definitely think I would benefit from a liver detox. It's not like I'm pouring anything in that's harmful to my liver, but with what my liver went through for like these past few years, I know it's got to be overburdened, because there would be some mornings where I woke up and I guess from, your body detoxing so heavily while you sleep, my liver would almost be like sore to the touch, like when I would wake up. And as soon as I would, drink something, I have some warm water with some lime or something like that in it, then it was okay after that. But I mean, it would literally be sore to the touch.
It's a super interesting connection, truthfully. And that's that same deficiency that unlocks your immune system, selenium. Mm-hmm. There's others involved, of course. We hate talking about individual nutrients, but people always call us out to, what's the mineral? But so selenium and its many cofactors not only unlock your ability to use your immune system, but it's almost the dominant factor in whether your liver works or not, right? Liver cirrhosis, fatty liver, these are not caused by alcohol consumption. They're caused by selenium deficiency. That happens in animals as well. The liver can regrow itself 75 to 80%. If it's removed, it can regrow itself, dependent on its selenium metabolism and availability. So it's an amazing thing. And an underfunctioning liver can just ricochet throughout your body. And for a lot of us, it can be a fungus, it can be a mold, it can be a yeast, it can be a liver virus or some infection that is just really, really hindering our liver's performance. And it's a critical organ. So we've incorporated that into our strategy for 2 or 3 full years now. And I've seen it. Some people, they get the boost from the nutrients themselves. Some people, we can't get rid of their pain until we kill that bug that's in them. And then some people come back and they say, wow, I just did the detox and my life is different. Everything's different. So, and in my own life, there's been some testimonials like that too. So I like fitting that in. And I'm saying this because since you're low weight, I also kind of have to send you a pack that's probably half the price, right? Of the one that's going to contain the liver detox. Gotcha. So you can go either way, but I would be prepared in the 30-day, 60-day future to get a liver detox some way, somehow. And I just want to mention here too, I appreciate your patience here with me, Jeremy, too, by the way, that just like the last call, this would take nowhere near as long if we didn't answer the questions together. And I want to do that for recording purposes. But if honestly, if I just called you, I would have just said, hey man, let me check your conversation that was here on the Instagram. And I would have just gone back and read it, then we would have saved 10, 20 minutes or something. But this is the experience of when you're actually dealing with people, and it doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter if they're your mom. It doesn't matter if they came to you, their old time friend, brand new friend. If you're ever going to sit down with somebody, you have to find these questions out. You gave some super key information here. If you have one key problem, we have to hit that one problem. First of all, we find what you want. That's what we do. We're in the problem solving business. What is your problem? Let's hone in on that. And let's find out if there's anything else contributing to that. And in your case, again, the missing glands Doesn't sound like a big deal,
Yeah,
but
oh,
it's the biggest one that jumps off the
look, if
page
that would have happened to me when I was older, I would have, I wouldn't have let them take it out. It seemed
for
like
sure.
in the 90s and there, especially in the early 90s, they were like, oh yeah, if there's a problem with anything, we'll just take it out.
Oh,
You
they're
know?
hungry for taking organs out. It's
Oh, of
crazy.
course.
You don't need them, right? You had trouble falling asleep as well. It's just that's usually just a general mineral deficiency, which is again expected in this whole thing, and the CMOS and such just not
Not
enough to
enough.
fill that in, and that's it. The last comment that I had was on timing here. Jeremy, part of the reason that I thank you for your patience is because you've literally been on my to-do list for probably 3 weeks, probably. Like I have an ongoing to-do list. I'm scratching things off. When the page is full, I'll write it again. You're at the top of my list because you've been there for a while, right? And this means we weren't able to line up before. But there's some people who go out there and they're just trying to shake everybody down immediately to go and help them, and that's not useful. And then, of course, being completely unavailable is not useful either. I'm very busy. I do
Oh, I know.
value these calls, right? I know you do. And now I know that by recording them, a lot of other people are going to get value from them too. But in this process, showing that you are there, that you are available, and that you are some way, somehow going to find a time to line it up. And when your mind is there for it, by the way, Jeremy, one of the reasons this took so long is because your original request is to call between 6:30 and 8 p.m.
Yes, sir.
in the Eastern time, and my day can start at 4 a.m. Right? So by what most people's dinner time is, I'm done. My brain's done, sort of thing. So this is another thing too. You don't need to burn yourself out. If we're here trying to help people, they got to get the best of you.
Yeah, you want to
know?
give them 100%.
Yeah, if it's burning you out, or if you're doing it when you're half asleep, or you're distracted, or you're fighting with your girlfriend, or something like this, it's not fair to the person, right? So when it is supposed to line up, it probably will. Just don't disappear from the map. And people like you, Jeremy, they will be patient, and they might wait a few weeks. It's a free call at the end of the day as well, right? So
I know that healing takes time. I think if anybody understands that, it's me. And also, I've also learned how your life can be changed in a second. I felt like I had it all 3 years ago, and
mhm.
look at me now. I'm like not even 30 years old. Figured I'd be married with a home and kids, and I'm like half blind, living in an apartment with my family. You know,
Totally.
so so yeah, I can definitely understand. Good things take time, but
Well, part of the reason we like getting people like you is because this is actually this is where we shine. We shine with the people who have tried everything else, and with a person like you who's already currently doing all the stuff that we recommend except the 90 essential nutrients. We're hoping for a good, clear result. And that's my favorite type of result, a nice, clear result. There's nothing else in the way. You know where you're at right now. You know what it took to get you here. And so we hope we can push you over to the edge. And there is no fundamental reason why damage to the eye. Remember, it's to the veins in the eye. That's why we talked about the circulation product. Be the same with the kidneys. It's not a kidney problem. It's a circulation problem. We can't say that with 100,000% certainty, but maybe 99.9% of the time, that's what we're reckoning is happening, is circulation problem in the little veins in the eyes or the kidneys. If there's damage done physically by a fungus or something like this, there's some nerve damage that can't not be reversed, right? But I would say there's a good chance. If you already saw an improvement with these other things, that's what one of the things I listen for too. First of all, you want to ask, what have they done? And did you have any improvement from it? I'd like to learn these things too. There's lots of things that can help. But if you got help from something like that, especially something oxygen based, boom, super, super interesting to me. That gives me a lot of confidence that we can be the difference maker with these products. So just one last reminder that we didn't diagnose anything here. We didn't cure anything here.
no.
What we did is we gave information, most of it which you already knew, and we're going to give the products to support and promote the maintenance and repair of a healthy body, more specifically of a healthy vascular system, right? And that's it. And we're hoping that by promoting the body's going to be able to clean up its arteries. The body's going to be able to improve its circulation. The body's going to be able to be nourished enough to repair the old damage, whatever's there. And the end result, we're hoping your vision should improve.
Absolutely.
So I thank you for your time, Jeremy.
Brian, thank you, man. Really,
I'm going to send you all this in writing.
And that'll be over Instagram?
Yeah, whether you've heard it or not before, it's just I feel it's just boom, paste it all in just in case. If you haven't done the salt flush, we'll add that into. You didn't say anything about your stomach. We didn't need to go into detail on that.
Yeah, plus I salt all my meals with pure sea salt.
That's good. Still,
Still,
I mean, it's not. That's not a big. That's sorry. That's not a small. That's good. That's really good. It's really good that you're in the habit of using salt already. It means you probably won't be able to do much of the salt flush, but I still want you to do it.
okay, I will.
Number one, to just make sure 100% that you're completely topped up on salt as much as you possibly can be. Number two, just to increase your sensitivity to salt that much more. And once that's finely tuned, that's always going to be one of your main tools in your moment-to-moment well-being. Your salt monitor. It's going to be something we're just trying to teach people to be just ridiculously sensitive about. And if they handle that, a lot of these other problems can be avoided, especially if they're just getting their nutrients and everything just boom works properly the way it's supposed to. So I will send you this as follow-up, and I'll send you a couple of links. You can choose which one is best for you.
And going out, if I can say like one thing, obviously whenever the eye thing started, and I started getting like bad news from my eye doctor, obviously. Obviously the first thing you want to do is try to find other people online that have had like a similar problem and see what they did to correct it, And the problem with my optic nerve is like death to the retinal ganglion cells. And, since they're part of the central nervous system, the doctors try to tell you that the central nervous system doesn't have an ability to heal itself, and it'd be like the same problem as, essentially like retinal degeneration or spinal cord injury or anything like that. It's all kind of like tied in the same. And so I knew, I mean, our bodies are not made to stay damaged. I knew somewhere out there is the right thing that my body can get to repair itself, And whenever I couldn't find anyone else that has already done it, I felt like I needed to find that, to be like that beacon of hope, to show people, hey, look, your body can repair this. Don't let your doctor tell you otherwise, or don't let anyone tell you otherwise, And so that's really been like a big thing for me, I guess, especially being so young. I want to hopefully be a beacon of light for somebody that is looking for answers. So.
Well, I appreciate you and your courage. And I'll tell you one story before you go, and the audience one story, that it is said that a lot of these things can't be repaired. Now, notwithstanding that we've seen incredible healings, not just in our business, but just in the alternative health world in general, throw that aside. This is something that we've been called liars for, believe it or not. It's not just healing eyes, it's regenerating cartilage. We've been called liars for a few things. Eyes is one of them. And this is one of the times that Dr. Wallach was actually called a liar publicly. He was giving a lecture, and an eye doctor by the name of Dr. Pugh, don't remember his first name, but P-E-W, he stood up and said, "You're a liar." And Wallach challenged him to a bet. He said, "Give me a bunch of your macular degeneration patients." I think the number was 21 or 22 or something. And if I can, it was a very modest bet or something. Pew was like, if you could reverse one of them, you win, kind of thing. And Wallach basically reversed all of them.
Wow.
The first batch was very quick. There was one person, I think, that took a little bit longer, but it was 100% reversal, and all of them documented and confirmed by Dr. Pugh himself. It was his patients. So Pugh, part of the deal, he paid for a steak dinner, and he apologized publicly. And in return, he also recorded a CD called "Seeing is Believing," and it's probably on YouTube. It's worth listening to give a beacon of hope. I've personally met several people who were blind, legally blind, and are no longer. And this is not a claim, again, saying, hey, take the 90 essential nutrients and reverse your blindness. That's not what we're saying. And because a lot of these people didn't come from our company, right? There's some people who took some of these super antioxidant products, like Zija juice or Moringa, and again, enabled their body to clean up the oxidative damage enough where they no longer had, according to their doctors, macular degeneration or glaucoma or, retinal detachment even, right? I've seen retinal detachment fix itself again, supposedly. It's not like we see this happening, but the person comes back and they can see again. And this is from many different strategies. Structured water is on the list too, by the way. Some structured water companies have released material bragging that they have reversed at least some types of blindness and at least some types of deafness in at least some people, which is remarkable. So, and I'm sure you'll find these testimonials sporadically amongst all the different healing venues. So just keep that in mind. The body truly is a healing machine, as you are aware of, but it's even more than most of us can imagine, truthfully. So once you're set on that pathway, and you've gotten here, and now we're going to give you the best thing that we can give you. And from then, honestly, I think you've got a great chance of significant improvement at the very minimum, which is all we can legally kind of say for someone to expect, right?
Of course.
So this was a good recording. I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, that's the point of doing this. There's going to be people that hear this that need just maybe a little bit of hope. Sometimes it's all people want. It's just a little bit of hope. That's all I ever wanted.
Well, for you as well. I'm hoping we get you some results, and I hope we can update that.
That's right, and I will. I think if you're going to have, a small percentage of everyone that does this that are going to stay truthful to what they do and not say, oh, well, I'm going to go have a few donuts today because I've been doing really good. I'm going to go have this fried chicken because I've been doing really good. I think the majority of people are, and that's okay. If some people want to go do that, but I'm very, very, very strict on myself, as I think when you have a health concern that you're trying to fix, there's no room for cheating, you should say, So I think if you're going to have people that are going to stay loyal to this, I'm definitely one of those people.
Well, that's good. We'll be in this in the long haul together then.
That sounds great.
So thank you again, Jeremy.
Ryan, I can't thank you enough, my friend.
Yeah, awesome. Within the hour, I'm going to send you just the paper form of what we talked about here, and I'll send you the links that are relevant to you.
That sounds great.
Thanks again, man.
Thank you.
Take care, and thank you, everybody, for joining us.